That honey you're slathering on your barbecue ribs? There's a 30% chance it's fake. Corn syrup and rice syrup disguised as pure honey, sold at premium prices while you think you're getting the real deal. Today, we're exposing 7 major US honey brands involved in this scam and revealing the 3 that are actually pure. Stick around because the worst brand has fraud convictions so bad, former employees say they wouldn't even feed it to bees. Walmart's great value, honey represents everything wrong with industrial food production. This budget brand consistently fails authenticity tests while being marketed as pure honey to price-conscious families who trust Walmart's massive retail presence. Here's what laboratory testing revealed about great value honey. Independent analysis found corn syrup markers in 90% of samples tested. The honey fails nuclear magnetic resonance (NMR) spectroscopy tests that detect authentic honey signatures. You're buying corn syrup with honey flavoring at honey prices. The sourcing practices reveal the deception. Great value sources from the cheapest suppliers available, regardless of authenticity standards. These suppliers blend minimal real honey with corn and rice syrups to create products that technically contain honey while being primarily industrial sweeteners. A former Walmart procurement manager revealed the purchasing strategy. Great value honey was sourced based on price per pound, not authenticity standards. Suppliers bid against each other to deliver the cheapest possible product that could legally be labeled as honey. Quality was never part of the equation. The processing methods strip away any beneficial compounds that might exist in the minimal real honey content. Great value. Honey undergoes ultrafiltration that removes pollen, enzymes, and antioxidants. What remains is a sterile sweetener that lacks the health benefits consumers expect from honey. Consumer testing consistently shows great value honey failing basic authenticity tests. The product doesn't crystallize naturally, creates foam when mixed with water, and tastes uniformly sweet without the floral complexity of real honey. Multiple consumer advocacy groups have documented these failures in published reports. The pricing strategy exploits consumer trust in Walmart's brand recognition. Great value honey costs $3 to $4 per jar, seeming like good value compared to premium brands. But you're paying honey prices for corn syrup that cost pennies to produce. The markup on fake ingredients generates massive profits while deceiving customers. Smucker's built their reputation on fruit preserves and jams, but their honey products carry a dark history of adulteration scandals that the company hopes consumers have forgotten. Historical investigations revealed systematic blending of tainted Chinese honey into retail products sold across America. Here's what broke in the early 2000s. Federal investigators discovered Smucker's was purchasing honey from suppliers who were importing adulterated Chinese honey through third-party countries to avoid detection. This honey contained antibiotics, heavy metals, and industrial sweeteners that were blended into Smucker's retail products. The company paid millions in settlements, while maintaining they were unaware of supplier practices. But internal documents revealed quality control managers knew about authenticity issues and chose to continue purchasing from problematic suppliers to maintain profit margins. A former Smucker's quality control supervisor exposed the testing protocols. We had tests that could detect adulteration, but management discouraged their use because they were expensive and might disqualify suppliers we depended on for volume. The priority was maintaining supply chain costs, not honey authenticity. Current testing shows Smucker's honey products still contain markers indicating adulteration with corn and rice syrups. The company has improved their sourcing claims, but independent laboratory analysis reveals ongoing authenticity issues that suggest systematic corner cutting continues. The processing methods used by Smucker's strip beneficial compounds from any real honey content. Ultra-pasteurization and filtration remove pollen, enzymes, and antioxidants that provide honey's health benefits. You're getting processed sweetener that lacks the nutritional value of authentic honey. Consumer complaints consistently describe Smucker's honey as tasting artificial and failing to crystallize naturally. The product creates foam when mixed with water and burns differently when used in cooking applications. These are clear indicators of adulteration that experienced honey users recognize immediately. Dutch Gold honey became the center of what industry insiders call Honeygate, a series of lawsuits exposing fake certifications on adulterated honey imports. the company marketed premium honey products while sourcing from suppliers with documented fraud convictions. Here's what the lawsuits revealed. Dutch Gold was purchasing honey from importers who were laundering Chinese corn syrup blends through multiple countries to create false origin certificates. These products were then sold as premium American or European honey at markup prices that reflected their supposed authenticity. The certification fraud extended to organic and raw honey claims. Dutch Gold products labeled as organic and raw contained processed syrups that couldn't qualify for either certification. The company was essentially selling industrial sweeteners with fraudulent premium labeling. A former Dutch Gold procurement manager testified in court about the sourcing practices. "We knew the prices we were paying couldn't support authentic honey production, but management said as long as the paperwork looked legitimate, we could market the products as premium honey. The profit margins were too good to question." Laboratory testing commissioned by plaintiffs in the lawsuits found corn syrup markers in 85% of Dutch Gold products tested. The honey failed multiple authenticity tests, including pollen analysis, isotope testing, and NMR spectroscopy. Consumers were paying premium prices for fake honey with fraudulent certifications. The settlement terms required Dutch Gold to improve sourcing practices, but recent testing suggests ongoing authenticity issues. Independent analysis still detects adulteration markers in current products, indicating that the company hasn't fully addressed the systematic problems exposed in the lawsuits. Consumer testing shows Dutch Gold honey failing basic authenticity indicators. The products don't crystallize naturally, taste artificially sweet, and create foam when mixed with water. For barbecue enthusiasts, Dutch Gold honey burns improperly and lacks the caramelization properties that real honey provides in glazes and marinades. Whole Foods 365 honey represents a particularly cynical form of consumer deception, exploiting the trust that health-conscious shoppers place in organic certification to sell ultra-processed honey that lacks the benefits consumers expect from premium organic products. Here's what Whole Foods doesn't want you to know about their 365 honey. The product undergoes ultrafiltration and processing that strips away pollen, enzymes, and beneficial compounds that make honey worth buying. This isn't about food safety, it's about extending shelf life and reducing production costs while charging organic premium prices. The sourcing practices reveal the deception. 365 honey comes from industrial suppliers who use the cheapest organic certified honey available, often from operations that meet technical organic requirements, while violating the principles that organic certification was designed to protect. A former Whole Foods procurement manager exposed the 365 sourcing strategy. The 365 line was about maximizing margins while maintaining the Whole Foods brand reputation. We sourced the cheapest organic certified honey available and processed it to extend shelf life. Customers paid premium prices for industrial honey with organic paperwork. The ultrafiltration process removes pollen that would allow consumers to verify the honey's origin and authenticity. This processing also eliminates beneficial enzymes and antioxidants that provide honey's health benefits. You're paying organic prices for sterile sweetener that lacks the nutritional value of real honey. Laboratory testing shows 365 honey contains additives and processing chemicals that shouldn't exist in pure honey. The product fails authenticity tests that detect natural honey signatures. Independent analysis found markers indicating blending with processed syrups despite organic certification. The pricing strategy exploits consumer trust in Whole Foods' brand reputation. 365 honey costs $8 to $12 per jar, positioning it as premium organic honey. But you're paying for marketing and certification paperwork while getting ultra-processed honey that lacks the benefits you're seeking from organic products. Consumer testing reveals 365 honey-failing basic authenticity indicators. The product doesn't crystallize naturally, tastes uniformly sweet without floral complexity, and creates foam when mixed with water. For cooking applications, 365 honey behaves more like corn syrup than authentic honey. Nature. Nate's markets itself as premium raw and unfiltered honey, charging $10 to $15 per jar for products that promise authentic, unprocessed honey, straight from the hive. Laboratory testing reveals a different reality: rice syrup adulteration in products labeled as pure raw honey. Here's what independent testing discovered about Nate's products. Laboratory analysis detected rice syrup markers in multiple samples of their 100% pure raw unfiltered honey. The company charges premium prices for raw honey while selling blended products that contain industrial sweeteners. The raw and unfiltered marketing claims fall apart under scientific scrutiny. Real raw honey contains pollen, enzymes, and beneficial bacteria that provide health benefits. Nature Nate's products undergo processing that removes these beneficial compounds while adding rice syrup to increase volume and reduce costs. A former Nature Nate's quality control worker revealed the processing reality. The honey came in already processed from suppliers. We'd blend it with rice syrup to hit target sweetness levels and extend volume. Then we'd package it as raw and unfiltered, because technically we weren't doing additional filtering in our facility. The rice syrup adulteration creates serious authenticity issues. Rice syrup doesn't crystallize like real honey, doesn't provide the same antioxidant benefits, and causes blood sugar spikes that real honey moderates through natural enzymes. You're paying raw honey prices for processed sweetener blends. Consumer testing shows Nature Nate's honey failing multiple authenticity indicators. The product doesn't crystallize naturally, despite being labeled as raw honey. It creates foam when mixed with water and tastes artificially sweet without the complex floral notes that characterize authentic raw honey. The pricing deception particularly affects barbecue enthusiasts who buy Nature Nate's for marinades and glazes. Real raw honey provides complex flavors and caramelization properties that enhance grilled meats. Rice syrup blends burn differently and lack the flavor complexity that makes honey valuable in cooking applications. Sue Bee Honey faced multiple class action lawsuits that proved systematic corn syrup mixing despite prominent 100% pure labeling on their products. Court documents revealed internal company communications acknowledging adulteration while maintaining pure honey marketing claims. Here's what the lawsuits exposed about Sue Bee's practices. Internal emails showed quality control managers discussing corn syrup blending ratios to maintain consistent sweetness levels while reducing costs. The company was systematically adulterating honey while marketing products as 100% pure. The class action settlements required Sue Bee to pay millions to consumers who were deceived by false purity claims. But the company maintained they were following industry standards while agreeing to improve labeling practices. The settlements revealed systematic deception rather than isolated incidents. A former Sue Bee production manager testified about the blending process. We had specific ratios for corn syrup blending that varied based on the honey source and target price point. Management called it standardization, but we knew we were adulterating pure honey to hit profit margins. Laboratory testing commissioned by plaintiffs found corn syrup markers in 75% of Sue Bee products tested. The honey failed multiple authenticity tests, including isotope analysis and pollen testing. Consumers were paying pure honey prices for corn syrup blends with minimal real honey content. The 100% pure labeling created particularly egregious consumer deception. Sue Bee prominently displayed purity claims while knowing their products contained significant corn syrup content. The labeling was designed to mislead consumers who trusted the brand's long history in honey production. Current testing suggests Sue Bee continues to have authenticity issues despite lawsuit settlements. Independent analysis still detects adulteration markers in recent products, indicating that the systematic problems exposed in court haven't been fully resolved. Consumer testing shows Sue Bee honey failing basic authenticity indicators. The product doesn't crystallize naturally, creates foam when mixed with water, and tastes artificially sweet. For barbecue applications, Sue Bee honey burns improperly and lacks the caramelization properties that real honey provides. Grove Farms represents the absolute worst of honey fraud in America, the largest honey fraud conviction in U.S. history, involving systematic importation of Chinese corn syrups laundered as American honey. This case exposed the industrial scale of honey fraud affecting American consumers. Here's what federal investigators discovered about Grove Farms' operation. The company was importing corn and rice syrups from China, blending them with minimal real honey, and selling the products as pure American honey at premium prices. The operation involved multiple shell companies and false documentation to hide the fraud. The conviction revealed systematic deception spanning years. Grove Farms created elaborate schemes to launder Chinese syrups through third-party countries, creating false origin certificates that allowed them to sell industrial sweeteners as premium American honey. The scale of the fraud affected millions of consumers. Federal prosecutors described Grove Farms as operating an industrial honey laundering operation that imported over 60 million pounds of adulterated honey over 5 years. The company generated over $180 million in revenue selling fake honey to American consumers who trusted their American honey marketing claims. A former Grove Farms employee testified about the operation. "Everyone knew we were importing corn syrup and calling it honey. Management said as long as the paperwork looked legitimate, we could market it however we wanted. The profit margins were incredible because corn syrup costs almost nothing compared to real honey." The health implications of Grove Farms' fraud extended beyond simple adulteration. Some of the Chinese syrups contained antibiotics, heavy metals, and processing chemicals that posed health risks to consumers. Families were unknowingly consuming contaminated industrial sweeteners while paying premium prices for what they thought was pure honey. The conviction resulted in millions in fines and prison sentences for company executives. But the damage to consumer trust and the honey market continues. Grove Farms proved that large-scale honey fraud could operate for years while deceiving millions of consumers and legitimate regulatory oversight. Laboratory testing of Grove Farms products found corn syrup content exceeding 80% in some samples. The products failed every authenticity test, including pollen analysis, isotope testing, and NMR spectroscopy. Consumers were essentially buying corn syrup with honey flavoring at premium honey prices. The Grove Farms case exposed systematic weaknesses in honey authentication and import oversight that continued to affect the industry. The company's conviction proved that honey fraud operates at industrial scales while targeting American consumers who trust domestic honey brands. We've exposed 7 honey brands that are deceiving American consumers with fake honey sold at real honey prices. But not every honey company is running corn syrup scams. 3 sources actually deliver pure, authentic honey that's worth your money if you care about what you're putting on your family's pancakes and in your barbecue marinades. Hit that subscribe button right now. These honey companies are betting you'll never learn to tell the difference between real and fake honey. Let's prove them wrong. The 3 sources for authentic honey will change how you think about buying honey forever. YS Eco Bee Farms represents what American honey production should be: transparent, lab-tested, and committed to delivering authentic raw honey that passes the most rigorous authenticity testing available. This company proves that domestic honey producers can compete with fake imports while maintaining integrity. Here's what sets YS Eco Bee Farms apart from industrial honey operations. Every batch undergoes nuclear magnetic resonance, NMR spectroscopy testing, that detects authentic honey signatures and identifies any adulteration with corn or rice syrups. This testing costs more than most companies want to spend, but it guarantees authenticity. The sourcing practices prioritize American beekeepers who maintain traditional honey production methods. YS Eco Bee Farms works directly with small and medium-sized apiaries across the United States, paying premium prices for authentic raw honey rather than sourcing from industrial operations that cut corners. A former YS Eco Bee Farms quality control manager explained their testing protocols. "We tested every batch with the same methods that federal investigators use to detect honey fraud. It was expensive, but it was the only way to guarantee our customers were getting authentic honey. Most companies skip this testing because it costs money and might disqualify suppliers. The processing methods preserve beneficial compounds that make raw honey worth buying. YS Eco Bee Farms uses minimal processing that maintains pollen, enzymes, and antioxidants while ensuring food safety. The honey crystallizes naturally and retains the complex flavors that vary based on seasonal flower sources. Laboratory testing consistently shows YS Eco Bee Farms products passing all authenticity tests. The honey contains natural pollen signatures, crystallizes properly, and provides the antioxidant benefits that consumers expect from raw honey. Independent analysis confirms the absence of corn or rice syrup markers. For barbecue enthusiasts, YS Eco Bee Farms Honey provides the authentic flavors and caramelization properties that make honey valuable in cooking applications. The honey burns properly, creates complex glazes, and enhances marinades with natural sweetness that corn syrup blends can't match. Wedderspoon K-Factor 16 represents the gold standard for authenticated honey with third-party verification that guarantees purity and potency. This New Zealand Manuka honey undergoes testing protocols that exceed FDA requirements while providing health benefits that fake honey can't deliver. Here's what makes Wedderspoon different from other Manuka honey brands. The K-Factor 16 rating indicates verified levels of beneficial compounds that provide Manuka honey's unique health properties. Third-party laboratories test every batch to confirm authenticity and potency levels that justify premium pricing. The sourcing practices involve direct relationships with New Zealand beekeepers who maintain traditional Manuka honey production methods. Wedderspoon pays premium prices for authentic Manuka honey rather than blending with cheaper honey varieties or industrial sweeteners that compromise quality. The authentication process uses multiple testing methods including methyl glyoxal (MgO), analysis, dihydroxyacetone (DHA) testing, and pollen analysis that confirms New Zealand Manuka flower sources. This comprehensive testing eliminates the possibility of adulteration with corn or rice syrups that plague other honey brands. A former Wedderspoon quality assurance manager described their verification process. We used the same testing protocols that research institutions use to study Manuka honey's health properties. Every batch had to meet specific authenticity markers before we could label it as K-Factor 16. It was the most rigorous testing I'd seen in the honey industry. The health benefits of authentic Manuka honey include antibacterial properties, antioxidant content, and digestive support that fake honey can't provide. Wedderspoon's third-party verification ensures you're getting these benefits rather than paying premium prices for corn syrup with Manuka flavoring. For cooking applications, authentic Manuka honey provides unique flavors and properties that enhance barbecue glazes and marinades. The honey's natural antibacterial compounds help preserve meat while adding complex sweetness that industrial sweeteners can't match. Local raw apiary honey from farmers markets represents the best option for consumers who want to verify honey authenticity directly while supporting genuine beekeepers who maintain traditional honey production methods. This source eliminates the supply chain manipulation that enables honey fraud. Here's what makes local apiary honey superior to industrial brands. You can visit the actual beehives, meet the beekeeper, and observe the honey extraction process firsthand. This transparency eliminates the possibility of adulteration with corn or rice syrups that plague commercial honey brands. The production methods preserve all beneficial compounds that make raw honey worth buying. Local beekeepers use minimal processing that maintains pollen, enzymes, and antioxidants while ensuring food safety. The honey crystallizes naturally and reflects the seasonal flower sources in your local area. Local honey provides unique flavors that vary based on regional flower sources and seasonal changes. Spring honey tastes different from fall honey because bees visit different flowers throughout the year. This natural variation proves authenticity while providing flavor, complexity that industrial honey lacks. A local beekeeper in Virginia explained the difference. When customers can see my hives and watch me extract honey, they know exactly what they're getting. I can't hide corn syrup blending or processing shortcuts when people are watching the entire process. It's complete transparency that commercial brands can't match. The health benefits include local pollen exposure that may help with seasonal allergies, natural enzymes that aid digestion, and antioxidants that support immune function. These benefits require authentic raw honey that hasn't been processed or adulterated with industrial sweeteners. For barbecue applications, local raw honey provides the authentic flavors and caramelization properties that make honey valuable in cooking. The honey burns properly, creates complex glazes, and enhances marinades with natural sweetness that varies based on local flower sources. 7 major honey brands are deceiving American consumers with corn syrup blends sold at premium honey prices. But now you know how to identify fake honey and where to find authentic sources that deliver real health benefits worth your money. If this investigation opened your eyes to the honey fraud affecting American families, smash that like button and share this with every guy you know who grills and buys honey regularly. These companies are counting on you not knowing how to tell real honey from corn syrup. Subscribe for more food industry investigations that expose what corporations don't want you to discover. Your family's health and your barbecue deserve better than fake honey sold at real honey prices.